Chapter 3, Section 3. We're learning how to graph inequalities. Be able to find solutions, right, Fletcher? For inequalities, two equations, two unknowns. Right, Nick? Okay, good. All right, we're going to try this one right here. And we're going to do that one. First, we're going to write the equations down. It's greater than 3. And x, yes, Nikki? Yes, you can. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to solve for y on both of these to make it easier for myself. So I'm just going to bring my 2x over, and y is going to be greater than 3 minus 2x. And in this case here, y, we got to be careful here because it starts out a negative y is going to be less than 2 minus x. But if we divide by a negative 1, this becomes greater than. So it's y is greater than x minus 2. By dividing through with a negative 1, we were able to switch these around. That's important to note. Now, we're going to make a t on both of these and figure out what our x and y are on both of these. If we put 0 in for x, our y is 3. If we put 1 in for x, our y is 1. If we put negative 1 in for x, this becomes a plus 5. That's the same as what we had before. Why am I goofing myself up then? All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to use negative 1. I'm not going to use negative 1 here. I'm actually going to use 2. All right. It'd be much easier to use here. All right. If I put 2 in for x, then it's going to be negative 1. No, we're good. Actually, I was right before. If I was just thinking I was wrong. All right. So this one here, if I put 0 in for x, it's going to be negative 2. If I put 1 in for x, it's going to be negative 1. If I put 2 in for x, it's going to be 0. So we're going to graph this thing. First, when we graph, now remember these are both inequalities without the equal on it. So it's less than and actually greater than on both of them now since we switched it around. But looking at this one here is what we're going to go off of. This is a less than and greater than. Anyway, with that, it means we have to have dashed lines. We don't have the equal sign on it. So in this one here, it's 0 and up 3. 1, 2, 3. We have 1, 1. And we have 2, negative 1. So our line is going to look something like this. The next graph, we're going to graph that one. Let's do it in a different color. Let's use 0, negative 2, 1, 2. So it's right here. Let's use 1, negative 1. And we'll use 2, 0. It's right in there. So our line here is going to look something like this. Now, and we should have dashed it because this is an inequality without an equal sign to it. Now, where do we shade on both of these? What we're going to use is we're going to use the 0, 0, the origin right here, and we're going to plug them into each one of these to figure out which side we should shade. So if we put 0, 0 into this equation first, it would be 0 plus 0 is greater than 3. Is 0 greater than 3? No. So we would shade the opposite side of where this one was. We would shade over here. Okay? Now, let me grab a different color again. Let's take a look at this one. If I was to put 0, 0 into this, 0 minus 0 is less than 2. Is 0 less than 2? Yes, it is. So on this one here, on this red line here, this would be true, so we'd shade this. The only place that shades both of them is in here, right here. These would be the solution to those two equations. Let's take a look at what we need to do for an assignment. I accidentally closed that out. Come on. Let's go into Algebra 2, Chapter 3. Close that out accidentally. Let's take a look at this assessment right here. I want you to do, for this assessment, just the odds. So do 5 through 13 odds for this assessment. And that should take care of it.